All right, we have our runner-up today. Tell me, mate, what'd you run?
Ran zombies. I'll go through them. It's got to be shiny. If it's common, it's not going to work for you.
Very nice.
Okay, so it's zombie control. So Doom King, he's kind of the win condition, the very slow grind win condition, but he banishes stuff, he negates stuff, he keeps coming back, and there's lots of combos to kind of get advantage off that summon. Glow Up Bloom is almost the perfect card, except he zombie locks you. So he searches any level 5 or higher just by going to the graveyard, but and then if zombie wards on the field, he gets summoned. So 3 of them. Usually people run 2, but with discards, he's just 3. I'd run 5 if I could.
Yeah, he is silly.
2 Banshee, because if you're versing decks like I did tonight where zombie wards ruins them.
Dinos, yeah, they were all very lucky.
Banshee just is good to have more than one. 3 Shiranui Solitaire, so that's your searcher. Searches your more blooms, and also the most probably utility card of the deck. 3 Uni Zombies. So that's just a discard from your deck, but also a discard from your hand, which comes in super handy, and it's the best play starter. 2 Mizukis, a nice non-hard once per turn reusable reborn.
Secrets as well.
Oh yeah,
Good.
nice.
They look very nice.
Although I considered making them ultras to match Gozu.
Just to match, yeah.
Probably if I had 2 Gozukis or 1 Mizuki and 1 Gozuki, I'd make them both ultras just to match.
Very good.
But he's another monster, Foolish Burial. But he's also got a really good one where you can send off Uni Zombie or Foolish Burial, him to the graveyard, banish someone else, and get someone from your hand and keep going.
Special summon, yeah.
Especially if it's a Mizuki, and then you throw the Mizuki to the graveyard, get the Gozuki, and then Foolish Burial again.
Yep.
Another starter, it does pretty much the same thing as Uni Zombie. More starters, the better. Vampire Fraulein, however you say it. It's a searchable, like honest, I guess.
Kind of like honest, yeah.
But also it's just super flexible. You can run more because it's really, really useful, but because you can search it, it's just good to have around for when you need it. So you can feed over things. You can also steal your opponent's monsters. So it's really good. Hand trap, so Ash, just because it's, in my opinion, the best hand trap, just ruins stuff.
Also zombie, so it gets activates Doom King.
Yeah, so activates Doom King.
Which is hectic.
Which I should have mentioned, Doom King negates them. So,
that's true, yeah. Even if zombie was not on the field, you do it from your hand, and you can negate an Ash. It's ridiculous.
The other one, so a big weakness of this deck is Call by the Grave. So Ghost Spell is really good just as a hand trap, but
I agree. I love Ghost Spell.
It protects you from Call by the Grave, which your kind of standard play is to throw Doom King into the graveyard at the end of the turn and bring him back. Call by the Grave ruins that. 3 Zombie Worlds. 4 Zombie Worlds.
Very nice.
3 Call by the Grave, because hand traps just ruin it. If your starter gets hand trapped, you're stuffed. So then also 3 instant fusions to be another 3 Call by the Graves with Millennium Eyes Restrict. You play it first, you can do some funky little combos with it, but the main thing is it ensures your play goes through.
One crazy thing, I guess you'll say when Millennium Eyes gets out, but because everything's zombies with Zombie World, you can special summon Millennium Eyes and actually use them as a monster, which is insane.
Yeah, it's very good. Another Glow Up Bloom, because, I don't know, 6 isn't enough. Foolish Burial is just the most, like if you ever start a hand with Foolish Burial, you know you can get through some disruptions. Mind Control, because this deck, it goes really well going first, but suffers going second. So I build it in go second mode. And then when I know I'm going first, I side in my go first cards. So Mind Control, very good for going second. And then Super Poly is just rude because
Such a good card.
any card that discards the zombies is good. Any card that gets rid of your opponent's monsters for free, especially with Dragon Echo, is good. And any card that can't be negated, it's just rude. It'll win you games. It can brick a bit having 3, but it's worth it.
It definitely is.
So Linkuriboh, he's really good. He is what gets Glot Bloom working as a starter. So you can go wherever he is. You play Glot Bloom, Linkuriboh over him, and that gets Doom King, and then you go Vampire Sucker over the top of those two as a starting play. And then you've got Doom King in your graveyard, so then as a standby phase of your next turn, Doom King comes back and then you draw a card as well. So it's just good card advantage, and also often, for some reason, I always draw Ash off that one. So it's really good. So 2 of those, I usually use 2. I'd love 3, but the extra deck space is tight. Avenged Savior is just really underrated card.
It really is, hey?
Sends from your hand to your deck as cost, so it can't be ashed, and is a big beater. So if you throw Doom King to the graveyard, which is the ideal spot to have him, you can beat over 3,100 attack monsters.
Wow.
Just super handy, even if you're just going from an instant fusion extender to beat over someone when you've bricked. Really good. Nightmare Phoenix, you just need to get rid of those floodgates sometimes, even though you probably can't get to him because of the floodgates, but it's useful, and he's a discard as well. Dawn Dragster in this build is surprisingly hard to get to, but it's really good because it stops Twin Twisters and it stops Call by the Grave. And you can get to it, but it's just not as easy in this build. And Frame Lord Omega is just an obvious winner for zombies. Hand loops your opponent for a turn, and very hard to get rid of him, and keeps filling up your graveyard with resources. Millennium Ice Restrict, he's kind of my newest addition, and he's working very well.
He's good.
So locks your hand traps out. It's really good even going second. I thought Thousand Eyes would be the most used going second, but sometimes you just need to put him down to stop quick effects. This one can be responded to because you have to activate it, whereas this one responds. So it kind of just locks your opponent out a bit. Thousand Eyes Restrict also doesn't get used because he's common, so I might put him in the bin. Mud Dragon of the Swamp, level 4 is the main thing, but he's also like a second, kind of like a Starving Venom, because I don't really have space for it in the main. So it works for both Instant Fusion and Super Poly, but he's really good for going to rank 4s when I brick as well. Dragon Echo, worst Dragon Echo. Then Levier, the Sea Dragon, he works in a nice little combo as a starting combo with Millennium Ice Restrict. So it's just a way to do your standard play, but you're protected from hand traps, and you end up with an extra Banshee in the graveyard for a bit of protection, so it helps you to play past Twin Twisters.
Essentially, Uni Zombie is the one that's giving Millennium Eyes a level each time, so he becomes level 3 as well, and then you're Xing them off.
Yeah.
And then special summoning Necro back.
Yeah, so it's just a safer play with one extra resource at the end.
He's good.
It's really nice. Jagaras is really good for those hands where you don't, like probably 1 in 5, you won't get the nice Doom King setup. Oh, probably even less than that. But for those times, this guy's really good. You get the 2 draws and then discard, and often you end up with a Doom King setup after that anyway. And Abyss Dweller because it just ruins people's day. So then side, the main interesting thing is I've got a standard 7 cards I pull out when I go first, and that's my 2 mind controls and all the hand traps, and I replace that with this lot if we're going first because it just locks them down. So 3 Solemns, so that protects me from Call by the Grave, Twin Twisters, the 2 Ruiners. It also protects these guys.
Very nice.
3 Rival of the Warlords. So with Zombie World, your opponent can only have one person on the field and then is locked out, can't summon. So that can win you games really slowly.
The best way.
Yeah. And then Vampire Domination is a nicer Solemn. It's kind of an Omni Negate. Stop spells and traps and monster effects, but you have to have the vampire stuck on the field, which most of the time you do, but when it's clutch, it's kind of just nice to have the Solemn Judgment. So I only have one of those, but 4 negates and then the Rivalry of the Warlords to lock it down. Those 2 for Christia, which 2 of the decks have been running them around, so I have to have
You never know what's showing up at these tournaments.
Yeah, and then I got 3 Shiranui style Swallow Slash.
Such a good one.
So that's
they're commons.
Yeah, they don't come better.
Yeah, no, they don't come better. That's a shame.
Yeah, these are just great. They just blow up 2 cards on the field. You can that's actually a little side effect is you can protect your Doom King with it, because Doom King's safe in the graveyard unless they called it. But sometimes on the field he's about to be banished, so then you can tribute him with this to protect it, and then blow up 2. The other benefit is Shiranui Spirit Master. So one of the effects is you have to banish 1 Shiranui monster. He gets you a 3rd pop, which is really good. But the other main reason to run him is Dark Law is bad for zombies. And if you just put 1 of these in your deck, there's like 12 cards that can throw it to the graveyard.
And then banish it. Well, okay.
Which banishes it and then pops Dark Law.
That's super clever.
I was on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, that's good. And then some extra super poly targets if I need them.
Yeah, nice.
The Starving Venom's just nice if you're going for dark. You don't want to have to set up Zombie World. And then this is for, not that we run them, but Thunder Dragons, and one of us runs Pendulum. So this lets you break through that big fusion guy, which I can't remember his name. Yeah, that's it.
That's sick.
Zombies.
Dude, thank you so much for showing me your deck.